What is going on, Herd? Thanks for tuning in to another Black Sheep TV production. Today we continue our Does It Drift video series where we purchase vehicles in-game, build them cars up to drift spec, and then test the cars rigorously to see if they have the ability to be drift cars. And today I feel like we got a real special one for you, probably just because it's the first time and probably the only time this will make sense in doing this. As you've seen in the thumbnail, there's no real surprising you. In the red corner, coming in low on top speed, high on acceleration, we got the basic Bravado Buffalo, the OG original, okay? And in the blue corner, we got the low on top speed, high on acceleration Bravado Buffalo S. Traction 1 1/3 bar down, 1 and a little bit more traction on this, I'd say. Double check that. Nope, same amount of traction, pretty much same top speed. And in the new corner, okay, these all look the same, this just has a little more top speed. So we're gonna see if any of these things actually do drift. In all honesty, I don't know if I'd expect a whole lot of them. I know they're grippier cars to begin with, but there's 3 of them. And, you know, someone out there may want to drift the Buffalo. So we're going to start with the oldest, the original, and we're going to move up to, Franklin's Buffalo. That's what I've noted this one has in my mind. And then we'll go with the Sprung Buffalo and see if that tops both of them, or if it's just the same, or well, what it is, where it falls in the category. So right off the bat, guys, we're going to hop in this beast. We're going to take it to the track. I'm not sure what track we're even going to go to yet. Let's find that out. Pretty sure all these are in the muscle class. Guess we'll find out. Alright, so apparently the Buffaloes are not in the muscle class. That is weird. So sports, I guess? Alright, so this is going to set the tone for us and see really where we're sitting, because they're all really built off the same general platform in my opinion. I will say this is the slowest in top speed of them all, though. It feels like it for sure. Maybe it's acceleration, slowest in acceleration. We'll check out how the platform stance is on this first one, shall we? Oh, okay, so the rear does not want to stance traditionally. We'll see if this one does. Sometimes this passenger one will still stance normally. Yep. Alright, we are stance, just the one problem, child. Oh, we're smoking though. That's a problem. Not going to be able to drift like that. So the front wheels are making it smoke then. Okay. Alright, so we know we got this problem, child. Let's get it out of the way. Not seeing any smoke thus far. We're dead at the rear there. I know it sucks when you have to shoot the body of the car, but gotta do what you gotta do. Oh, no. You know it sucks even more is when you pop your tire on the last one. You know, it sucks even more is when you're not going to have enough ammunition to stance your vehicle. Alright, finally. We are stanced, my goodness. Whew, we finally got here. Now, I want to note before we start that all of these vehicles are built under the same drift spec. Okay, so full engine, the full tuning options being full engine, full transmission, and the turbo. And we did also lower it in the suspension category. Now, we stanced it as well. The stancing was pretty, it was tough. The only wheel that stances normal is that one right there in the rear. So with all that said, this should be the lowest performing vehicle, at least. I don't know, I don't want to jinx this, knocking on wood already, alright? But this should set the standard. Let's say it that way. That's a better way. Alright, let's see what we're at. Can't tell if it wants to drift or if it doesn't want to drift. I'm like, it doesn't want to drift, then it gets away from me. Alright, so she's not one of your best performers on the block, but she's performing. We get a little bit more time in on it just so I can get a good feeling of where we're at. I've never drifted any of these vehicles, so it is kind of a unique experience. And this is kind of throwing me for a loop. It's slippery at a certain RPM, okay? It's like mid RPM, it gets slippery for you. It's kind of like a little bit of a, I don't know, yeah, like a turbo lag or something. But then as soon as you max out an RPM, it grips you. Not as soon, but it also has that boggy performance, like to where if you just rely on the momentum of the car, there's so much grip that it does bog you down. Also have to really, really use the e-brake. You really got to be an e-brake smasher to use this one. But that's one of the major benefits of using the single gear drifting technique like we use over here, is that you have like 50 vehicles that you can choose from, and that will give you some type of driftable, yeah, some type of driftable performance. I was trying to see if that was the way of saying it, but yeah, I guess it is. It will give you a drift experience, let's say that, right? Alright, I think that I got a good feeling of where this vehicle is at. Now I want to go test the second vehicular. Yeah, I seen that smoke pop out just at the last second there. So we are not going to be able to stance the front traditionally. Going to have to resort to our same technique on the last one. Now, let's see if we can maybe shoot it up in this area. So, just to the rear of both of the front tires will do it. I did really high, right? I thought it maybe be, I don't know. It didn't do it, but whatever. Blah. So now this one, let's see if this one's able to be conducted properly. Should have checked this first. Oh my... One more to go. So like I said, they're pretty much the same platform, was I not right? They're stancing exactly the same anyways. Alright, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Again, SUV tire compound. I didn't say exactly what tire compound it was, I don't think, when I specified. But yeah, SUV. They're all running on SUV. Let's do it. Grippier? This one's even grippier. Yeah, it is. At certain RPM, it is grippier. So the Buffaloes are not the best drift vehicles. I think we're seeing that right off the bat here, guys. But so I guess you can look at it at the positive side. We're getting them all out of the way in one episode. You won't be seeing any more Buffalo action. Probably won't be seeing much for Buffaloes at the track either. I think it's safe to say that. Oh, come on. I can get that corner. I can get this corner good. Come on now. Or not. All of these Buffaloes are so long as well. Oh no. Oof. Alright, so I got a pretty good idea. Like, it is almost exactly the same. It's just in the RPMs is where they act a little bit different. Now, slipperiness and all that stuff, I think they're basically the same. This seems like it has, like, if I were to speed up, I have a lot more acceleration. Yeah, I'm getting a pretty good idea of what this thing's all about. Time to go get the Sprung Buffalo and see if that thing's any better. Oof. Oh, we even got the Sprung suit. Alright, let's do it. So I don't think I need to go out on too much of a cracked limb here and just say that this is probably going to stance and drift very much the same. But what's a video about it without trying it? Alright, we're stanced. I didn't take any chances. I stanced it up just like I would on the other ones. Let's see what she's got. I think this might be the stickiest of them. It's faster. Maybe that's what it is. It's quicker, so it gets up to that RPMage where That's probably what it is. It's quicker, so it gets up to that shifting RPMs a lot quicker, and then it just shifts on you. But yeah, all of these cards kind of duds. Definitely duds in the drift game, but I mean, they do offer you something. So let's take these cars, load them back up, get them back to the garage, and let's give them all a little grade and see where we're actually sitting them in the old scoreboard. Alright guys, so it was certainly an episode testing 3 cars. That was actually kind of quite a bit, and they were all very repetitive. They were all very similar. So let's start off where we did start off, with this old beast. The cost of it. Obviously, get this one on the street, guys. I wouldn't suggest paying for it when you can just pick it up on the street and it's a common spawning vehicle. Cost, I think we only paid like $6,000 for the wheels. It's pretty cheap for the basic colors on both of them. It's like $1,000 and $1,000 probably for both the black wheels and the paint job. We did the window tint, we lowered it down with suspension, we did the engine tuning, the transmission, the turbo, no spoiler. I think we did add in a back bumper splitter thing. Yep, and the exhaust down there. So cost, what you're getting out of it as a drifter, that is, it's relatively low. You're not really seeing any chargers in drifting either, for the most part, are we? But long story short, they're rear-wheel drive in this game, and we had to put them to the test. So cost, I'm gonna put it right in that 4. Like 4. I'll give it a 4. That's gonna bring us into driftability. When stacked up to the lineup, she's not all that great. She's a little better than the vehicles that we have been testing recently, being the Retinue and the Penumbra. However, the Penumbra is really close to this, so we're going to give it a pretty close grade. Driftability on this son of a gun, I'll give it a 4.5. I'll give it a 4.5. So we're at 4.5. That brings us into efficiency. I did not like the way it stances, but once you do figure out the way it stances efficiently. However, we don't give it this efficiency basics for having to figure out the way it drifts, for figuring out the way that it has to be stance, and you have bullet holes all over your vehicle by the time you're done with it. So efficiency, not digging it. We're only going to give it a 4 there as well. So that's really only bringing us to a 12.5 out of 30 on this beast. We're getting late in the game, so I think a lot of these are low-scoring vehicles. However, I have dug a little bit lower in the list. The list just keeps growing and growing and growing, but these next couple in Does It Drift will definitely... Where you running to on your own. Alright. Anyways, these next few vehicles on Does It Drift, well, next few, at least the next 1, maybe 2, will be higher scoring vehicles that you may be interested in swooping up. Let's move on to the second one. I didn't notice much difference at all. There's a slight difference, but there's not enough to like give it a difference in performance. The cost, however, you need to buy it, and it's $96,000, I believe. Right around, let's just call it 95 in case I'm wrong. 95 to 100,000. And all of the upgrades are way more expensive. So the upgrades on this thing are like, you know, $6,000 for the engine, $12,000 or $8,000 for the transmission, something like that. $30,000 for the turbo. This one's like $50,000 for the turbo, $20-something for the transmission. Expensive as heck for the engine as well. And we're just like, ugh. So cost, this thing's getting even lower. This is only going to get a 2 on cost. Now it's still offering you a driftable car, but you can get the same dang driftable car right there. Just go with the older model, cut your losses short. What's the point in spending all the money on something like this when you can get that for a lot cheaper? Anyways, the other things line up to be exactly the same. The efficiency and the driftability in this car are exactly the same. So 4.5, 4, and a 2. So that's bringing it to a 10.5. What's really hurting it is that it costs a heck of a lot more. It's little brother here, whatever you want to refer to this thing as, driftable. It's giving you the same experience, okay? Same drift experience. That brings us into this beast. Now, this is where it gets a little controversial because some people have this vehicle for free. Some people may not have this vehicle at all. I don't even know. Some people have to pay for this vehicle. I don't know. Anyways, this is the Sprung Bravado. And this thing, it's faster than the others. So if you're trying to race, this is the one that you're going to want. This is the speediest of them. However, I'm not talking, I don't know about top speed. We didn't test the top speed. This is Does It Drift, not Does It Race. But this seemed to be your best one for racing. That hurt us in the driftability game. Now that seemed to hurt us in the driftability game because we're not looking for fast vehicles. We're looking for slippery, slidey vehicles. Now, if they can keep themselves sideways, then we'll go fast because then they won't shift if they can stay sideways. Now, like I said, it's a little bit controversial because I know that some people have to pay for this vehicle and some people get them for free because they've transferred their character over from the older generation. And I'm pretty sure this was my original account from doing it. I've renamed it a couple times, so it's hard for me to keep track. But anyways, it's free. Otherwise, it's how much ever. Just call it right around 100,000 or something under that. Maybe it's even cheaper. Maybe it's like 30,000. I'm not sure. But for me, it was free. I'm just going to kind of split the difference and give it right in between these two for cost, just because if you can get it for free, that's awesome, but you can get this thing for free, and it's going to be easier. And I know some people aren't getting this for free, and I know some people just aren't getting this for free, so that's the big thing here is, and I know some people just realistically are not getting this for free, so I can't just say, okay, it's free, that's the cost. So for this expensive one, this cheap one, we'll cut it down the middle for cost. I gave this one a 4. We'll give this thing a 3. So you're getting it a 3 in cost. Driftability, it is a little bit less because it's speedier. So instead of that, I'm actually just going to give it a solid 3.5 on driftability. This is just not a drift car. This is not a drift family. This is not a family of drift vehicles here. These are like, I don't know what you want to refer to these cars as. I mean, for one, they're all sedans, and they're kind of really, really long vehicles, but again, this had to be done. This doesn't drift was inevitable, and I've been saving up to get all these vehicles customized up and get them sitting here, and I was even clearing I was even clearing all of my spaces in my garage in my previous videos, if you guys noticed that. I'm sure, well, obviously you noticed it. I was doing it the whole dang video, duh. Come on now. Efficiency, same old, same old. We'll give it the 4. What was it? A 3, a 3.5, and 4. That's a 10.5. That's scoring the same as that, I believe. I always forget it. Like, you know, it's like 10.5, 10, whatever. Really close. They're all falling in that same mark, guys. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed seeing another Does It Drift video in this series. I hope you guys are still enjoying this series, as it is still a growing series. There's still more and more vehicles that seem to be added onto the list. And that's excluding any vehicles like the retinue that were added since, you know, the list has been made. Usually when those new vehicles pop out, I'll do my best to make them as soon as I can. I would love to do that other vehicle that came out, but it's an all-wheel drive car, guys, and I can't spend $1 million on a car that I know does not drift. Drifting in the single gear drifting style. I'm not talking double clutching or e-brake sliding. Maybe it drifts in that style. We'll move into that. So right now, we need to build up the team platform, we need to build up the community, and we need to build up a volunteer base. So I appreciate all of you guys tuning in, liking, comment, and subscribing, sharing the videos if you are sharing the videos. I definitely do appreciate that. As always, guys, I hope you all stay happy, stay positive, and we will definitely speak to you next time.